Hello, everyone. Richard here at Calvin Wazoo, and I'm entering another contest, and I'm brushing up pretty close to the deadline here. This one is for Jimmy Barnes. His contest is pretty straightforward and simple contest. His deadline is February 3rd, but it's a good contest and or drawing. And he's got a very good channel. He talks both about records, that he's adding to his collection, etc. He also talks about different types of paraphernalia that are associated with entertainment and music. So if you like both, or if you like one or the other, he's you can check his videos and see that they are identified as whether they're vinyl music oriented or if they are more oriented toward different types of collectibles or paraphernalia. Anyway, yeah, the contest deadline is February 3rd, and the prompts for the contest are really quite straightforward. I will have a link in the Down Under to his contest video, so you can get all the rules and also the little methods for getting an extra entry, into the contest or drawing. Okay, so let's get started. And the records I'm going to be showing, I'm pretty much sticking with items that were released in the 2000s, 21st century releases. All right, so the first one is to show two albums from a band, one that was released pre-2000 and one that was released post-2000. So a band that probably got started in the 90s and are continuing to release material into the 2000s. Could be other bands as well, but I went with the band Spoon, which are, I believe they're from Austin, Texas. And this here, I can take these out of the, well, I still have this in the shrink. But I've got this album here. Yeah, still got the shrink on it, so there's some glare. A Series of Sneaks. All right, so this album was released in 1998. So that is the pre-2000 release. And then we have the album Gimme Fiction, which was released in 2005. So there's a band with a release in the 90s and then a release in the 2000s. And, they just had a release last year. So they're still putting out some really fine music, if you haven't listened to them, alternative rock. Even you could almost say a little post-rock at times. All right, the next one is show a second release by a band. Okay, and what I'm going to go with is this band that I've, within the last couple of years, I've discovered, and it is Destat. This is their second album, Machinery, which was released in 2011. I don't have their first record, but I have several others in addition to this one. So Destat is sort of it's a Netherlands-based band that's made up in part of immigrants from Eastern Europe and the Middle East who came from oppressive regimes. It's an alternative rock group that sometimes ventures into post-rock. And because many of the members have come from oppressive regimes, there's a lot of political statements in some of the songs, talking about these oppressive regimes, not in specific ways, but you can hear their experience, with the music. There's really good music. If you haven't heard of Destat, check them out. If you, like me, live in the United States, I pretty much have had to go to European vendors to get records, to get their releases. I never see them in stores here in the U.S., and I don't think I've ever seen a seller in the U.S. With copies for sale. In fact, I think all of my copies were bought from German vendors. So that's my second item to show a second release by a band or a sophomore release by a band. All right, next one is to show a record of a duo. And I'm showing the Black Keys Brothers. This was released in 2010. Interestingly, though, I'd never even heard of them until like 2015, 2016. And I thought, oh man, this is like some, I was in this, it's kind of like a bar coffee house. I was on vacation and they were playing this music and I'm like, wow, so it's really good blues rock. And so I was like, is this new? And they're like, yeah, no, this is Black Keys. They've been around for a while. So yeah, I didn't hear about them. In fact, their first album I probably could have used for a pre-2000 and post-2000, because when was there, as I'm doing this right now, looking here to see when is their, their first release was 2002, The Big Come Up. Brothers is much further down, but probably people have heard of them because they're a fairly well-known blues rock duo, guitar player and drummer. All right, so the next question is going to be show a record where you have two or more copies. And so I'm going to have two examples of this, one from a British band and one from an American band. So the first one isn't really a band, but I'm going to go with TVAM and his debut release, Psychic Data. All right, and the reason I have two copies of this is I have a color variant, the white vinyl, and then I have the copy here in black vinyl. This is electronic music, but the interesting thing is his compositions are very adaptable to a live act performing them. So when he performs live, everything on the record is composed using electronic instrumentation, like keyboards, etc. But then, when he goes on tour, then he's got a band backing him up. So he's got a drummer, bass player, guitar player, and the music adapts really well to that type of instrumentation. So he's from Manchester, and that release was in 2018. The other one I have two copies of is from a U.S. band that comes from Brooklyn by the name of Geese. And this is right now, the only album they have released. It's called Projector. They did a lot of touring in Great Britain and Europe right after the release of this, so in 2019 and 2020. Well, mostly I think it was 2020 and 2021. So yeah, even during the pandemic, they were doing a lot of touring over in Britain, especially in 2020, late 2021 and into 2022. So yeah, I have two copies of this. I've got this yellow variant, and then of course I have a copy of it with the black vinyl. So there you go. Those are the questions for that. You can also get a bonus entry if you promote Jimmy's channel on some other platform. So, check that out. As I said, I'll have a link in the down under to his video with the prompts for the contest. And so there you have it. And now I've got my video entry done. So remember that I can be found on Instagram as NewsDude76. That's NEWZDUDE76 on Instagram. And also remember to pray for the people inside your head, for they won't be there when you're dead.